Let the spend begin. Labor's back at it. Yeah, spend that money, baby. We're going to spend it on the rail. We're going to spend it on the water. We're going to spend it on the highways. We're going to spend it on the motorway. We're going to spend it on water. We're going to spend it on air. We're going to spend it on the grass. We're going to spend to win. And now they have made some cuts to things, like a transfer of money from one place to another, which is a good thing. However, the net result is more government spending. And to be fair, I actually agree with most of the things they're deciding to do. Don't have an issue with that. However, if the budget isn't being balanced and you're overspending, it's not good. And normally there's only two real solutions to that for the government. And that is borrow more money or raising them taxes. That's right, raising them taxes. But I'm not convinced raising taxes increases revenue, because if that did work, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in right now. But I think the problem is deeper than that. Much deeper. See, what you have today is a system of people that just get to vote just because they exist and they can breathe at the age of 18. There is no test you have to take. There is no qualifications you have to have. There is no duties you have to perform. You don't have to do anything military-wise or for the government or anything for the community. You just go like this, and you can vote. Sounds great on the surface that everybody can vote at that age. Sounds awesome. And it is good if there were some things you had to do to be able to vote. It would be fantastic. But when you don't have a stake in something and you don't have to do anything to earn something, you just don't value it the same. It's just easier to throw away. So what ends up happening is a lot of people don't bother voting, and the ones that do vote will change their mind on who they vote for over the smallest things. And this is because they don't have a stake in anything really when you think about it. Because if you don't really have a stake in something, anything can make you change your mind. Like, if you have a stake in something and one small thing changes, but you can see the bigger picture, then you won't change your mind so easily. You'll stick with something even though it's not perfect. So in the end, that's your voter base. So when politicians run for office, quite often, like Labor was, making these cuts because basically, really, the money was being funny. Didn't have enough money. But then voters started voting another way. And their solution was now U-turn and spend more. They're not wasting the money with the spending. It's on things that are really good. However, where's the production? How are we covering it? How are we covering the cost? Like they're bringing the rail back into the government, I think you should also bring back some other things, like steel production and all the things that used to be made in this country before globalization just really took a stronghold. Because all I see with globalization was, from the 90s on, a lot of people losing jobs because they don't manufacture, ain't producing nothing, and we're just depending on everybody else to ship stuff in. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the number one export on the ports in the UK is air. What do I mean by air? Empty containers. Shipping out empty containers to be filled by other countries producing everything, so we have to depend on them shipping it to us. And this was all done to lower cost, to save money. But it really only benefited shareholders and the people running the businesses. The costs never actually went down, did they? Everything's still going up. But the problem is now there's less opportunity and less jobs for us here, so the price raise is really worse than it would be if we were producing more, because there would be more jobs. I remember back in the day, my aunt and uncle, they work at a GE car manufacturing plant, and then you could retire early. You're making enough money to own a home, 2 cars, garage, nice piece of land. Try that now. You see the high housing prices? Yeah. As much as I love water to be renationalized, because, well, you can't really compete with the water sources, is some water returning to up north. Because you remember how they're saying we're in a drought? Well, it's really bad for like Yorkshire and the northwest of the UK. Really bad. And in general, the entire UK has experienced the driest spring in 132 years. Dry as a powder house. The good news is there's rain coming. But the bad news is actually it's too much. They're anticipating some serious rainfall come next week, midweek. And even though that rain is needed, the ground is dry and hard, especially up north. And that creates one thing, or the potential for one thing, and that's flash flooding. Because the hard ground is not going to absorb that water very well. And let's pray for rain, but not heavy rain. We want rain, we want a steady, we don't want a heavy right now because it's been dry. Who knows what the future holds? And on that note, y'all take care.